And here we are with another edition of the Massena Raiders Coaches Show. I am joined this week by two special guests. I'll introduce you to the first one. It is head coach Taylor Zappia. How's it going, Coach?
Hey, Elijah. Thanks for coming down to practice again.
I am very excited to be down here, and very excited to be down here after yet another victory. You guys are 5-0. How does it feel to be 5-0 throughout the course of the season so far?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say it feels awesome, right? So the guys have been putting in the work since August 19th, and it's nice to look at that record, next to Massena and see 5-0. But just like I've been saying every week, it's what have you done for me lately? So we're on to the Blue Devils this week.
That's right, 0-0 with 1 to go, I believe is how you usually say it. So let's talk about those Blue Devils for a minute. I was telling people on the radio earlier this week, last week's rivalry with St. Lawrence Central, that's all about brotherly love. Folks know each other. We're feeling good after the game, maybe go grab a bite to eat with the opponent. This is not that type of rivalry, though. A little bit of bad blood here, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's been, for years and years and years, it's been one of the toughest games that we play in the year. You said it best, these two teams just don't like each other at the end of the day. And, it is, we do, we have respect for each other. That's goes without saying, obviously, because we're usually two pretty good squads going after each other. But for the past, I don't know, it feels like a long time they've had our number. These kids, and I know the coaching staff is, ready to get over that hump. Mm-hmm. Last year we had a little momentum going up there and beating them up there, taking down an undefeated Ogdensburg team up there for the big one, the Section 10 championship. And, now we're the undefeated team and they're coming to our turf. So I know that's what their coach is preaching up there. So we got to get these kids, not only physically prepared, but mentally prepared, because these guys are going to be coming here, flying. There's no bus legs on that 30-minute drive down 37 when it comes to Ogdensburg, Massena. So,
I was looking back at some really old newspapers before you and I were ever thought of, and they used to call this game the war between Massena and Ogdensburg, and I just found that to be so interesting, because you always hear different rivalry names, and to hear one called the war, it's like, oh, well, I guess that kind of says everything you need to know, right?
Yeah, definitely. It is a war. It's a battle when we play. Ever since me and Coach Simonds played, and every year I've been coaching, it's definitely the hardest hitting game of the year. Other teams have really tough players, but Ogdensburg always has not only a tough team, but a very well coached team, a very disciplined team. So it adds to the challenges. But I know this year this group is definitely up to meet the toughness, overcome the toughness, and match their skill set.
And Coach, obviously you and I always talk about stats. You upload them every single week, so nothing I tell you is a surprise. But let's just appreciate the fact for a moment that when it comes to Division B, over 100 schools participating in Division B, you've got the number 1 quarterback, and then your top 3 options at wide receiver are number 4, number 9, and number 10 when it comes to receiving yards. And oh, by the way, you also have the number 6 running back. They don't do offensive line rankings, but I really feel like they should, because you guys would be up there with that category as well. I mean, you kind of have to feel like it's an abundance of riches, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, we have... we're usually blessed to have skill on the Massena football team every year. We always have skill. It's really the guys in the trenches that we're kind of relying upon. Some years we have a bunch, some years we don't have too many as far as numbers. But yeah, it's nice to have someone like an Eastwood. He's number 1 on max preps for whatever it's worth with passing yards, and he's a guy that just he understands the offense. He's been in it 2 years. I can throw some complex stuff at him in practice and really test his knowledge. And he I tell him a complex play call, and he says, "Yes, coach," runs in the huddle and lets it rip to the guys and kind of explains everything to the guys. He has a complete understanding of the offense, and thankfully those guys run those jet sweeps count as passes. So, and it is a forward pass. So we're lucky to have Garrett Weir, Topani, Murtaugh, even Donovan Turner ran a couple great ones last game. These guys, they get that ball with such speed and they can hit that edge. So yeah, we're excited to see how this offense continues to blossom.
I'd imagine on your call sheet that right next to the word jet sweep is a $sign. But anyway, so obviously going back to Eastwood just for a moment, obviously we try not to hone in on any one individual player, but the kid's already through 5 games done what he did all last season. Last season he had 15 touchdowns, 8 picks. Right now on Max Preps it says 16 touchdowns, 2 picks, and 1,100 yards. I don't have access to the Massena football record books, but I feel like we're seeing something with this passing attack that has not been in Massena for a long time. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. No. When me and Coach Simonds played, we were a run-heavy team. It was like that for a long time. Coach Agostino came and kind of started spreading us out a little bit, and we kind of stayed that way. We still pride ourselves in being able to run the football.
Yeah.
But no, Eastwood, we're very proud of him. I know the guys are proud of him. He's not the type to ask for the record book, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's definitely, he's a high school kid. He's confident in himself. He's happy with the stats, definitely, but he's not thinking about breaking records. He's not thinking about that stuff. He's looking for the next week. And, as we move forward into definitely more meaningful games, I know he's up for that challenge to prove to everyone that, I can do it against anyone. It doesn't have to be against, a particular team.
Right. Last question for you, Coach, and we'll toss it over to our special guest. And it's not really so much a question, but more of something that I know will put a smile on your face. So I got the chance to kind of talk a little bit with Eastwood here at practice today, and I said, hey, great game, 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's really good for any quarterback, but great for a high school quarterback. And he said, yeah, I could have done better. So it's like, all right, I want to see what better looks like. Maybe we'll see that against Ogdensburg. So you brought over a special guest. I gave this gentleman a shout out, but what can you say about this offensive line coached by Casey Simonds that'll make this man blush over here a little bit?
He's blushing already. No, I saw Coach Simonds, maybe in the winter. I saw him in town, and he showed some interest in coaching. I'm like, absolutely. Me and Casey played together, high school football here at Massena. So he's always been in my football heart, my football family forever. We had a little brief stint at St. Lawrence together too. So he's a great football mind. And once he said he was interested, I'm like, are you interested, or are you really interested? He said, I'm definitely interested. And now he knows all the time that gets put into it. And I don't want to speak for him, but I know he loves it. I know every day, we're, as a coaching staff, we're learning new things, not only about the offense, defense, but about how to coach these guys. And I know he can speak on this too, but the way you coach kids now is a lot different. I think if you want to get the most out of them, not that they can't take tough coaching, but it does. The coaching has progressed, and I think he saw. He's seen that firsthand, and he's jumped into his role. Like he's taken those guys under his wing, and he's added so much to this program. We can't say enough about Coach Simon. So we really appreciate him joining the staff this year.
All right, I'm going to toss it over to Casey here in a moment. Coach, stick around. I got 2 more for you.
Awesome.
So Casey, I'm going to put you on the spot, my friend. And I'm sure you were like, man, I really wish you wouldn't have given me that shout out now. But Casey, tell me a little bit about how much this Massena Raiders football program means to you.
Yeah, it's very special. I mean, there's been it's a long tradition, proud history here in Massena football, and I'm very happy to be part of this year, and the years back when I played, and just hope to improve these guys and make this program even better, and it's just exciting to be back here in my hometown coaching this team, and I can't say enough about how proud I am to be here, and just honored to have been asked to help out these guys, and the season's been great so far, and hopefully we can pull through, and I'm definitely excited for the game this Friday. And
you got a great voice for radio, Casey. So Casey, as far as this offensive line is concerned, tell us what you believe is the key to being a good offensive lineman.
Yeah, I think just proper form and technique. That's what we've been trying to teach these guys. That's number one, and you really gotta have the intensity too. Getting off the ball first, making contact first. Accelerating through contact. Executing your block. I mean, it's really important that these guys really nail down their technique first, though, and master that, and then everything kind of falls into place. I mean, you can't teach the aggressiveness and all that, but we got some guys that definitely can get out there and hit, and it's exciting to see that.
Casey, as far as your offensive line is concerned, obviously they're kind of those unsung heroes. We do our best to make sure they get as many shout-outs as possible, because we know how it is as an offensive lineman. You only ever get called your name whenever it's a penalty, right? So as far as your offensive line is concerned, anybody that maybe we haven't really talked about in recent weeks that you want to spotlight because you see the effort at practice?
Yeah, probably there's a couple guys in mind. I mean, I'd start off with Lacombe. I think he's progressed, immensely over the season, and he has great speed, which is such a blessing for an O lineman. It was a shock to see how much speed we actually have on the line, and I love to see that. And I think he's done a great job, and he's very physical too, and just very impressed with him. I think obviously Coates there on as a tackle, his aggressiveness, his intensity level is just it's right where you want to be, for a lineman in the trenches, and very impressed with him. And Cyrus, I think, stepping up at center too. He's done a great job, and he's improved with his snaps and executing his blocks. Those are a few guys that come to mind.
Okay, and I have noticed as well, obviously all the kids are doing well. Obviously we have to say that because you're 5-0. If you were like 0-5, maybe a different story, but we're not even going to think about that. So one of the kids that I've noticed, Casey, was Cole Bogart. I noticed him at every single practice. He's out there doing the very best he can. Even in plays where it seems like he doesn't have a ton going on, he's out there trying to pay attention, figure out what's going on. What can you say about Cole?
Yeah, Cole, he's here every day, man, and that's his commitment is there, and that's what you need first off, right? He's here every day. He's here working with us, and he puts in a great effort, man, and he can be a force. I mean, I really excited to see him grow as a lineman, and I think he has a lot more to offer us, and it's just very exciting to see him progress every week and be out here with us, and just doing a great job.
All right. Well, Casey, I want to thank you, man. You're off the hot seat now. We're going to toss it back over to head coach. Thank you, Casey. We appreciate the time. Coach Zappia, you went to St. Lawrence University. Obviously, Casey went to St. Lawrence University as well, as you talked about earlier. Yep. I have to ask you, and I know you can't give me too many specifics, but you're from St. Lawrence University. You've got probably one of the most talented, if not the most talented roster in Section 10. I think you know where I'm going with this. Have you made any phone calls to be like, hey, can y'all get out to some of these games and maybe keep some of these kids here in the North Country?
Yeah, no, that's definitely on the list to do very soon for the second half of the year. But no, there's a bunch of kids that could definitely play D3 ball. There's no doubt in my mind. What I'm kind of trying to say is these kids need to kind of understand that's commitment.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like something I can tell these coaches to come watch them, and the kid has no interest in doing that, because I've talked to some of these kids and told them what it kind of entailed, and it's not a walk in the park. It's
right.
Not, it's a whole different lifestyle when you're playing D3 football, wherever it may be. So that's something I need to talk to the kids about definitely first. Yeah. And then, but yeah, there's a bunch of guys that could do it. They have the resiliency, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. They'll get you the strength and the talent. It's having that resiliency of maybe not playing for a couple of years, but still having to grind every day and stuff like that. So we have some guys, and I'll have to talk to them and maybe make some phone calls in the future.
All right. And last question for you, Coach, before we wrap this thing up. Message to Raiders Nation. It's going to be rainy, but you still want a full stadium of people, right?
Yeah, of course. I hope nobody misses the game just because a little bit of rain. No, we just want to say thanks. The coaching staff and the team wants to say thanks for all the support, not only from the football club and everyone that's kind of helping the gears turn in the background, but just the fans, the guys and and girls that are coming to the game and cheering us on. These kids. When we looked up in Malone at that Hall of Fame game, I couldn't believe how packed the stands were. Like it almost doubled from the last game, I thought, and it's really nice. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, that's what these kids love doing. There's nothing like running out on Mike Nicholas Field on Friday night and seeing, packed stands. So we just appreciate the support from the community, definitely.
All right, folks, get ready. The war's coming. Ogdensburg and Massena coming up very soon.